Let me just do a few housekeeping so I could um this is on my screen. Okay. Slide this video. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So we live, we here, and this is us. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to this reading masterclass. And like I would guys say, like I'm a nobody. I'm just here to just basically share what I've learned over the last few years, basically, from all my reading journey. And trust me, if you're a student here, if you let's say an entrepreneur, you have a busy schedule and likes, right? This is one of the place that you should be in at this moment right now. Trust me. Yeah, good. So my name is Solomon Olalemi, and I'm currently the head of digital product for Polaris Bank today. But that's the side. What we came here to do is how to learn how to read, basically. Yeah. So welcome again. Welcome on board. I hope your reading notes, your I said you're reading notes. I hope your notes, your pen is ready, right? If you have any question, just kindly drop it in the chat box. I'll pick it along the way. And then I hope that we would learn something very valuable in this masterclass, right? Forget that it is free, right? Usually when people see something that is free, they just basically tend to think that they are not going to share something valuable there, right? And for me, I'm like, okay, let people just confess. They would find out if it is really valuable. And one of the reasons why I had to do this is because I share passion with people. And one of the passion that I share with people is that a lot of people come to me and they say, oh, Solomon, I want to read like you, right? How do you find the time to read, basically? I'm like, I just read. Sometimes, if they're my friend, I ask them, how do you eat? That's the question I asked them, like, yes, I eat. That's a great question. I'm like, how do you find the time to eat? You understand? They'll be like, what are you saying? I'm like, yes, how do you find the time to eat? Because me, sometimes I work from morning. It is when I feel hungry, right? Maybe around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. That's when I'm like, I think I'm feeling hungry. Oh, what's the cause? Okay, I have not eaten since. I'll not then go and get the food to eat, right? And all of these things. So it's kind of weird when I ask them, how do you find the time to eat? Me, I know that I have to find the time to have to stand up from my working desk, right? Go to the kitchen. If there's food in the fridge, bring it out, defrost it, and then eat, right? So the same thing too. How do you find the time to read amongst a busy schedule? You don't want me to go into details of all my day, how my day is like. But let me give you a snippet. I currently manage about 5 product managers today. And apart from that, a whole lot of stakeholders within the banking sector. So you could imagine. And then I told you guys this morning that I've read about 25 books. That is not something I really want to do. In short, that 25 books for me is above, like, is beneath my limit that I should actually read. Yeah, basically. So let's just get into the discussion for today. I said that just to digress and to welcome you properly. So you're welcome to this masterclass. And like my friend told me this morning, was like, I hope that you do more of this. And I'm like, yeah, I truly hope also. Yeah, basically. So Solomon is my name, and I am your co-pilot for today. Yeah. So basically, I plan to share a few things, right? Thank you, Ozioma, with you, basically. And then what I'm going to share with you today are fundamental into getting a reading lifestyle. When I mean fundamental, I actually mean fundamental because one of the things that I personally watch out for in people that are great is what are the hacks, what are the systems they've created. So I'm not here to share with you, oh, pick up a book and read. I have tried it before. I had my down moments when it comes to reading. I had my uprising moments when it comes to reading. I have found out that like study them, what happens when during my down moments, what actually happens? Why did I feel down? Why did I stop reading? There were days that I don't feel like reading. And that's just the truth. So I'm not here to just come and tell you, oh, read and read and read. You understand? No. And then if you're a student, you probably are here because you are struggling with reading your academic books, right? I was also in your shoes, right? Till I actually find that perfect blend for me to cultivate a reading habit. So I'll just be sharing this introduction, right? And then telling you some stories along the ways. And I hope these stories inspire you. Yeah. Someone is raising up their hand. I don't know if I should take that or okay, let me take that. Adeyemo, do you want to say something? Or that's a mistake? Okay. Uh I believe that's a person is in co-pilot mode. I believe that's a mistake. Yeah, so let's go on. Um so one of my passions today in regards to reading is that I plan to help 1,000 people to read this year. But right now, I am helping just 100 people. That's amazing. How many people can just guess how many books I've read here in this image? Just guess how many books I've read. Just drop your guess in the comment section and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Okay. So, how I read 104 books in 2018. This is the way it started. So, guys, listen clearly to this story, basically. So, in 2018, I was in Akure as a FUTA student, FUTA Experience University of Technology Akure, right? And I was in my 300 level. No, was it 300 level? I graduated in 2019. That was my 400 level. Yeah. So, um, so I graduated in 400. That's 2018. That was the 400 level. I said 28. How many books are listed here? Jeez, let me count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. They are not even up to 28 books here, and I've read 28. Amazing. Okay. Yeah, so back to the story, right? And then I do have like bookshop guys, right, in Akure. And then I met a bookshop guy. His name is called SOD. His name is also Solomon, right? But his bookshop name is SOD Bookshop, basically. So then I come back from school, I just branch his place. And one of the interesting thing for me with or my encounters with book was that I met someone who knows a lot about books. So sometimes when I just go to SOD's book or just branch them, like I'm not even going there to buy any book, right? Just to interact with him. I'm like, oh, so have you read this book? This book is saying about this, right? And then it spins into conversation, right? Conversation and then different things. We start sharing ideologies and the likes. So subconsciously, I'm coming back to pick a book, right? I'm like, this book, and this guy's talked about, right? I really want to read it, and then I want to know more about this book. And then I come back, and then sometimes I price the book like, oh, I have the money, like, okay, take it, give me back when you have the money. And then that was how I started having this habit of any allowance that my dad sent to me, I must buy a book from that money. If he sent me 5,000 naira, I must buy one book from that 5,000 naira. So it became an habit. I'm like, because I'm always going to a shop, he's always telling me about books. And I'm going back curious, right? Enticed to read those books. So SOD, there was a book I was not looking for. Somebody mentioned to me, I was looking for the book. I didn't find the book. And then I went to another bookshop to look for the book. Right? He told me that, oh, that book is not in the market. It's like, okay, let me try someone else that I saw along my way. And then I met Shola, Olushola bookshop, right? His name of bookshop, I can't remember right now, but his name is Olushola, basically, Olushola Mole, right? And then we're talking, like, oh, really, to be nice to have you around more time. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I actually even read 50 books last year. I'm like, and that was February. I'm like, wait a minute, you read 50 books. How did you do it? It was like, oh, I set the goal to read 50 books. I'm like, okay, this is new. I've never heard of anybody setting goals to read amazing number of books. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try out this shit, right? I'm going to try out reading 50 books also, right? And I was tracking it. You understand? I was tracking the goals, and that was how I ended up reading 104 books at the end of the year, right? I had time to read. At that time, I was, instead of me going home during the break, right, I just go to Osho State with my grandma, spend time with her. And it was only me and her. She, she's old, she talks to her old friends, and me alone in the village with plenty books to read. After 2 weeks on the day, 3 days break, I'm back to the school, right? To just read. And then that was really interesting for me. Reading, instead of reading 50 books, I ended up reading 104 books by the end of the year. It was really intriguing, and that's my short story. So that's the story in summary. So the goal. So there's something I want to share really is that a lot of people have challenges with reading, not because they actually don't want to read, right? But because they do not have the right goal in reading. Like I shared from my story, the goal for reading then that I had was because I just wanted to put a numbers to my reading, not because I wanted to beat Olishola's record for reading. It was because I wanted to put a numbers to my current reading. So it helped me in tracking the books I was reading. It helps me staying focused to that goal. So a lot of time I tell people, like, your goal for reading should not be that you want to read more than someone else or you want to read like someone else, right? Your goal for reading should be that you want to read more than your current self right now, right here. That's basically what should be your goal for reading. Because one thing that can discourage you is that if you are trying to read more than someone else, right, you would basically be tired along the journey. And this is very factual, right? Because number one, you cannot compare my current lifestyle with your current lifestyle. So if you heard that I read 104 books in a year, right? And trust me, since then, I have not read 104 books, right? In short, I have stopped setting the goals for reading a certain number of books at the end of the year. I only track the number of books I read, like, okay, I've read 10 books this year, I've read 20 books this year, just to track it and put a number to it. But I do not set goals to read a certain number of books, right? But the goal should be that you are reading more than your current self right now, right? If you get out of this point, let's now go into why then should you read? Why then should you read books, right? Number one reason is that you're reading for creativity, right? Creativity. Books, books inspires. Books give you creative ideas. And okay, let me give this example, right? Some of my poems, I started writing poems because I was reading a poem by someone actually. I was reading a poem like, wow. So I have like word reading that just comes to my head. Then I tried writing it down, like just try writing it down. Then basically, and then the first time I tried it, it was like 4 lines. Then sent it to my friend. My friend was like, "Oh, this is beautiful. Let me add more to it." That was how I wrote my first poem ever, and it was by reading someone else's poem from a book, creativity, sparking of creativity. It was from there, and I said, like, okay, now I can write poems, right? Now I've written close to 20 poems, right? At the moment, I can't remember. I think I've written close to 20 poems, right? 10 of them have been published already. If you go to my Instagram, you will see them just designer, I just posted, and then just allow them live follow there. Yeah, basically. That's just it. So books inspire. So if you're finding a goal to read, right, it could be that you are looking for creativity, right? And one thing is that a lot of people actually are sharing their life journeys in books. So you can read books to get creative, right? Or to inspire creativity in you. You are seeing what someone else did, right? It is giving you a new vision, a new horizon, right? To be able to think like, oh, this person achieved this, right? I remember reading the this book, Think Big, by this popular surgeon. I can't remember his name. So anybody that knows his name should just drop it in the chat box. Right? Think big, think big. The surgeon, the black surgeon in America. I can't remember his name right now, right? And then I'm like, wow. So yeah, Ben Carson. Thank you, Adebola. Right, Ben Carson. Yeah. So, and I'm like, I read that book before I got into secondary university, right? That inspired into me a very hard pursuit to pursue excellence, to pursue um goals, right? Yes, gifted hands, think big. Then there's a third one he wrote. There were like three series, right? And I'm like, if someone can do this, then I can do it, right? So books inspire creativity. So the goal of reading book is to inspire creativity. Another goal for reading books is to motivate you, to inspire you, right? Motivation. A lot of people are down, they just down, they're like, okay, just pick up your book. I'm like, or just read an article. Like this evening, I just opened like my Medium, right? And then read an article, and then I was like laughing. Oh, it was about discipline. You understand? I'm like, oh, this is relating to what I'm going to share tonight, right? And I'm like, oh, this is really interesting from an author, right? On just Medium, right? It just motivates you. It just inspires you. For me, discipline was like, I think what I'm going to share tonight is going to make sense because someone else wrote about it. So it motivates you. It helps you see that, oh, I'm doing the right thing, or I'm on the right track, right? Yeah, all of those things. So the next goal for reading books is for knowledge, right? We read to know more. If not, education has no foundation. The foundation of education is in what has been written or what has been said, right? The knowledge and the medium by which knowledge is being passed from one form to another or from one person to another is either through um audio medium or through the written medium or through the video medium, right? All those things. So you read also for wisdom, right? Wisdom. How do you get wisdom? Wisdom is an application of knowledge. After gaining knowledge from the book, there are books that also teach you how to apply them, right? How to apply those knowledge. So that becomes wisdom. Then we have personal development. So you read basically for personal development to grow yourself, enhance yourself. How do you know about medicine, the field, for example? I'm an engineer. How do I know about medicine, right? I do tell people that if I can, if I'm in a law case, I will be the lawyer of myself. Instead of hiring the lawyer, I'll be my own lawyer because I know few things about law, right? And it's about and it was just by reading law books, right? Different law books, asking my friend. And when I read, I ask my friend, oh, I read this. What does it mean? Enlighten me, you understand? And then sometimes my friend like, oh, you want the learn lawyer? You understand? Like learn lawyer work, yeah, basically. So personal development, then comprehension, and then lastly, understanding. These are the 7 goals, right? Why I feel people should read books, basically. So, why then should you read? It doesn't make sense to read, right? The natural self just wants to, yeah. just wants to watch movie, lazy around, play, chat, and talk. Why reading? Because reading itself, truthfully, is stressful. I'm not gonna lie. Reading itself is stressful, right? So why then should I read? Why then should I read basically? The first reason why I think you should read is to become a better person. To become a better person. And I'll prove this. Like I wrote here, I said the average CEO, according to a statistical analysis, right? An average successful CEO reads about 60 books a year, which means about 5 books a month. On average, 1.25 books every week. An average successful CEO reads about 60 books a year. You understand? So, what does this tell you? This tells you that reading helps you to become a better person, right? It helps you become a better person. You will probably have come across videos of now let's look at Ben Cassie's story, for example. Like Ben Cassie's parent, I think it was his mother that was sharing that his mother forced him to read. He and his brother, they had to read, right? It was that reading discipline that they had was what helped him in medical school and sorry, yeah, and then he became like the world famous neurosurgeon, right? Reading helps you become a better person. Look at Elon Musk, for example. Elon Musk is an island of knowledge. Not basically. I was checking Twitter yesterday. He retweeted an interview he had, an 8 hours interview. And then the person listed out like timestamps of content they talked about. I'm like, Elon Musk talked about neural links, talk about productivity, talk about this. I'm like, different topics in an 8 hours interview. I'm like, this guy knows so much. And how did he know so much? Was because he read or he's still reading till today, right? And a lot of he did Jeff Bezos, you want to write about, he has shared about how he finds time to read. Mike Microsoft CEO, former CEO, Bill Gates also finds time to read. These guys are readers because they know that reading helps them become better person. So if they're looking for a reason why you should read, reading also become a better person, right? The next thing is to gain knowledge. Well, about person that said that when you stop learning, you start dying. So because the brain is like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets, right? People better use it to learn. So it's better you use your brain to learn new skills, to adapt themselves to what is coming their way, basically. The third reason why you should read is right. Reading is a dose of is like dose of motivation. Dose of motivation, yeah, basically. Self-help books helps at the healthiest way that sprinkles motivation without any side effects, right? A lot of people just start their day with junks. When you wake up, the next thing you're picking up is your phone, right? And all of those things, right? Those things have a side effect on the brain, on how you think, on how your brain functions, right? But when you read, this is a test for somebody, right? When you wake up in the morning, for the next 7 days, try picking up a book. It is just 1 page or 2 page that you read just to that, and then try to examine how, at the end of the day, try to examine how productive or how better your day was compared to when you pick up your phone first thing in the morning. This is something I've tried and I've seen how important reading is, right? Those of motivation. Yeah. The last thing I want to share is that on why you should read is reading expands the horizon of your mind. There's something that I started saying years ago, which is that readers, right? No, writers are ladders. Readers are people who climb the ladders of who climb the ladder to see more, right? For example, I have never been in the US, right? Imagine me reading a book about US. I'm experiencing their worldview through a book. So reading helps you expand your mind, helps you like learn people's culture, For example, less people culture and all of those likes, right? Reading helps you expand the origin of your mind. Even if you don't remember everything you've read, you will start to notice that there's a difference in your thoughts when you read. You will think differently, right? Because, for example, you are in the office and they're talking about, let's say, oh, well, I want to expand to the UK, for example, like, oh, we don't know what to expect. And then you're a product manager, for example. I'm like, oh, suddenly your brain just remember that, oh, I read a book by XYZ person in the UK, right? And then talk about this. I'm like, okay, we need this product. UK people need the product. And they're looking at like, oh, how did you know? Have you been in the UK? You're like, don't worry. I think so. Let's just Google it, right? You have that confidence because you've read it somewhere. And the reason why you could say it was because your brain could connect the dots, right? And all of those things. Yeah, basically. So I'm going deeper into how to become a pro reader right now. So fasten your seatbelt. There are three frameworks that I used in becoming a pro reader. I've studied research about everybody that reads consistently, right? And I found out that these three things are what is true. Number one is the why, right? I call them this film, I call it like the golden cycle, basically, right? And it was adopted by it was adopted from Simon Sinek, right? One of the leadership experts, yeah, basically. Simon Sinek was one that explored on this golden cycle framework, right? And I found it to be true in every life of every pro reader. So it is called the why, the how, and the what. Why should you read, right? Or why are you reading? How should you read? And then what should you read? If you do not get anything from this masterclass, please don't forget these three things. Why should you read? How should you read? And what should you read? I will explain why these are important. A lot of times, people don't get to read, or people are discouraged from reading because the book is there. And I'm like, I'll read it tomorrow. The reason is because there is no why should you read. And this is why I have spent the first 30 minutes, right, of this seminar to explain to you why reading is important. The reason I have to do that is to program your subconscious henceforth going forward in such a way that you will remember at least one of the reasons why you should read. So when your brain tries to trick you into procrastinating when it comes to reading, then that why would reinforce back your belief system and helps you gain the strength on what you should read, on reading at that particular time, right? You remember the why you should read, it helps you become a better person, right? It basically gives you daily dose of motivation, expand your the horizon of your mind. It helps you like to gain knowledge. All of this, right, are important why. There are a lot of whys, but all of these are important why. No, everybody here wants to become a better person. So when your brain is telling you tomorrow that I'll read next tomorrow, I'll read later, then you remind yourself, I want to become a better person. Immediately you could remember, your subconscious can remember that there is this new energy that comes within you, right? That just helps you read. Everybody had the choice of not reading, trust me. And I know you are here because you faced that challenge at one point or the other. The reason why sometimes you don't get to read, especially when it comes to school books, right? Why did you? Now, this is a very perfect example, right? Why do you think students do not read at the beginning of the semester down to the end of the semester? But when it gets to exam period, there is this power sudden energy to read. Why do you think it is? Because you know that if you don't read, you will fail. So the why of failure, I don't want to fail, is stronger than I will read tomorrow, I will read later. You understand now? So now imagine you have a why that is stronger than your excuse. Oh my God. Right? Imagine that you have a why that is stronger than your excuse. Then nothing is going to stop you from reading. This is the arc you've been looking for. I believe that I will just believe that you understand this. When you have a strong why, then you have created a system to read consistently for the rest of your life. The reason I am reading today is because I have found the why for me to read, which is to become a better person. I cannot tell you how much book has helped me. Let me share a bit story. Let me digress a bit, right? And share this story about my personal life. When I have always been a shy person, trust me, I have always been a shy person. The person you're looking right, I have some of my friends on this call, and they'll tell you, one of the things that you cannot do to me today is to post my pictures. I will beg you to delete it. Not because I don't like seeing myself, right? Not because I don't like seeing myself, or not because I think I am not beautiful. In short, I hack myself a lot to my mirror. So that tells you that I know I have that self-consciousness or that self-gratitude for myself, right? But because I am a shy person, I don't know if I'm introvert or extrovert. That is a different analogy for another day, right? But I can choose to be any. You understand? But this same shy person came across a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie in 2017. I was frustrated. I was attending a fellowship in Futa, and then one day somebody called me like, why don't you interact? What's your problem? Do you have spiritual problem that it feels like you are carrying the whole world on your head? I'm like, there's nothing that is bothering me. I am mentally perfectly fine. I don't just know how to interact. It's just me. I am shy. From church, in short, I even time church. Church will start by 6. By 6:05, prayer is going on. I enter church, PM 6:05. What is this like 7:30, 8 o'clock? Church is going. I don't disappear back to my house. You understand? I had no friends, On the level, 200 level, I had no friends. Departmental mate, I don't even talk to anybody in the department. I was just alone. You understand? I was just alone. As a matter of fact, my dad stopped me from going to a boarding school when I was in JS1 because of this reason. It was like, you will just die in the school. Because if you are sick, nobody knows. If you are well, nobody knows. Is when the sickness is shaking me like this, that's when you will know that I am truly sick. That's when I say, I'm sorry, I'm sick. Or now you be asking me, what is wrong with you? Nothing. I'm fine. But you have a high temperature. I am fine. You understand? It was then I like, okay, yes. When that sister, God bless her. I remember her name. I'm not going to mention her name on the call, right? He said, what is wrong with you? That was when I now went back home that night, and then I prayed to God. I'm like, God, this is not really a life that I want to live. Help me, right? And then I went back to the bookshop. I went back to SOD bookshop, and then I was like, I need book that can help me interact. You understand? Then he recommended 2 books. It was like How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then this book, Spirit Controlled Temperament, right? Because I also felt that, okay, maybe my temperament was somehow, you understand, and then I need to understand more about it so I can control it, right? And then I went to the bookshop to buy. I saw these 2 books, but I fell in love with How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then I picked up the book, and that was the game changer for me, right? Now learn how to talk to people, how to win friends, how to influence people, and all of these key ideas from a book. Tell me why I will not read. And then this same person now started becoming somebody that is now smiling, laughing, playing with people, right? I can now, and I'm not somebody that I can choose when to be quiet and when to play around. You understand? But before this, I am very quiet person. In short, in other level, in my fellowship, I want the most reserved person. I never knew that was an insult until 3 years ago. And it gave me an insulting, like I was happy. Like, oh, I'm the most quiet person in this place. Oh my God, you people awarded me. Oh my God, happy. My heart. I kept that award. I I kept that award, right? But when I naturally sat myself down, I was thinking about something like, I want the most reserved person. That was the most stupid thing they could have ever given me, because there is no point in being reserved. What did my voice is breaking. Network. MTN, please don't do this. Let me try to be more audible. Yeah. So I'm like, this award has no value, right? No sensible value to it. Because being reserved did not earn me more money. Being reserved did not make me more likable, right? I don't know. Maybe they felt if they give me the award, I would be like I'll talk to people more. You understand? It's like giving the award for being the most quiet person. Nobody blesses a quiet person in the room. In short, the Bible says the violence taketh it by force. So if you are doing gentle in a room where you are sharing cake, and then I just want to be alone, praise the Lord, alone, praise the Lord. You understand? Nobody. You will just be there. The cake will finish, and you'll be there without no cake. So tell me, why should I celebrate that award? Right? And then I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's still the best book. If you ask me, you want to know how to help my communication instantly, I just recommend that book for you, because that's the book that helped me. A whole lot of books that has helped me become a better person. When my finances was doing, and as a life was dancing this thing, there were books I read, right, that helped me, like, okay, this is the principle for saving, right? This is the principle for budgeting, and all of those things, right? Books are powerful. Books help you become a better person. When you have this wide framework, you would not struggle with reading books any longer. So sit down after this call, sit down with yourself, right, and ask yourself, what is my why when it comes to reading books? What is my why when it comes to finances? This act is not just for reading books, it's also for every other area of your life. Every other area of your life, right? What is my why? Why am I reading books? Why am I living this life that I want to? When people say I have an habit that I want to struggle, that I want to be free from, if you have a why you should be free from that habit, I bet it will be easier breaking that habit than not breaking the habit. Trust me. Then the next thing is how. How then should I read? But then this is where it becomes personal. How then do I want to read? Right? Then what should I read? This is where it gets to you, right? What should I read? What kind of books do I want to read? Do I want to read personal books? Do I want to read fiction? Do I want to read non-fiction? All of those things. Is my voice still audible? Let me know if my voice is still audible and it's not breaking any longer. I've been praying for a very good and stable network all day, and I hope to achieve that, right? So, what do I read? Thank you, Adebola. Yeah. What then do I read? How then do I read? And all of these things. So these are fundamental things that everybody who wants to create a lasting reading habit must know and understand, right? Now, you understand the fundamental rules, right? What then? In creating a reading system, there are things that should guide you. There are rules that should guide you. Now you know your why you should read. You know how you should read, right? You know what you should read. Nothing is stopping you. But there are just two things that I have noticed that people make mistakes on and discourages them from reading. Number one is setting a reading goal. I want to read 5 books at the end of the month, right? Yet you are working with 2 companies, right? Your work demands that even you are working from home, your work demands that you work from like 8 a.m. to like 9 p.m. You are tired, right? Then you are setting the reading goals. And then by not meeting those reading goals, you now become frustrated, right? And then because you're not frustrated, then you end up giving up. So can you see? So creating a reading system, number one rule is that don't set the reading goals. This is I advise people, forget about setting reading goals. Forget about starting all in short, all of the goals you set at the beginning of the years that I will do this, I will do this. How many of them have you done now? So now you can see that even setting a reading goal will not help you. So forget about setting reading goals. Second thing is that don't look at others. Copy, they kill. Right? Let me say it in the Nigerian native language. It means that copying other people actually kills, right? And all of those things. So I have also created 4 things, right, that should guide you, starting from ground zero into becoming a pro reader. These 4 things should guide you. Now that you know your why, all of this, the why, the what, the how, are your subconscious, right? The all of this brain doctor, there's something they call the cortex, the neurocortex, that deals with your conscious mind and then your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, right, needs the why, the how, and the what. Your conscious mind needs these 4 things that I'm going to be sharing with you, right? Number one is that start from where you are. Don't deceive yourself. It was Socrates that said, to yourself, be true, or to thyself, be true. So sit down with yourself. This is where we are. We cannot read 5 books this year. What we can do is 1 book this year, right? Start with where you are, right? Me now, I know where I am. I know my capacity, right? This year. You understand? My capacity this year is 2 books per month. Anything beyond 2 books per month, right, is me stretching myself, falling in love with the book, right? I know myself. So there is no point of blame gaming, no point of looking. If you read more than me, post it on Twitter. You're on your own. That's your own. This is my journey, right? Every man's journey is unique to himself. So start from where you are. If you haven't read any book this year, at least try to finish 1 book this year. If you haven't read a book in a month, try to finish 1 book this month. If you haven't read a book in a week, try to finish 1 book this week, right? To yourself, be true. Second thing is that I tell people to do is that set a reading time. This is important. I want to read daily. My subconscious mind has been helped in this reading masterclass. They've given me a why I should read. That why is ingrained into my subconscious mind already, right? But I need to help my conscious. So what forms habit is that there's an interaction, right? A sync between your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. There is that sync, right? That is when habits are not formed, right? Your subconscious mind reminds you, oh, you read every evening. This is evening. Take a book and read. You understand? So, and then you end up reading, right? Because your subconscious mind and your conscious mind have agreed. But your subconscious mind has been helped in this masterclass, giving you a why, right? Then you now have like a time to read. So you have to help your subconscious mind to carry out the tasks it ought to carry out. I don't know if I said it well, or helping your subconscious mind to perform its core duty, making it easy. So think of it as an elastic rubber band. You try to expand it, right? The more you expand it, the more it gets expanded. The more it gets expanded, the more it gets expanded. So where physics students will say it gets to the elastic limit, and then a point of breakage. The point of breakage is that point where it becomes an habit, right? But you have to keep expanding it to get to that point of breakage. Keep expanding it. If you do not expand it, you would not get to that point of breakage. So setting a reading time. So a little practical. Let's be practical here, right? Right now, within you, in your mind, look at the time you are free the most at each day. What's the time I am most free right now? Just try to imagine on Monday, I'm usually free in the evening, right? Okay. So now that time, note that time and set that time as your reading time, right? Let's make it a little bit more practical. Open your alarm on your phone, set alarm, name the alarm, get read now, or whatever you want to name it, or reading time. Set that alarm for the time you are free the most. Set it as a time, right? If you've done that, right, just type it in the comment section. I have done it. I have done it. I've set my alarm, right? Make it daily. Don't make it once. So make it daily so that the alarm will not go and read once, and then you can set it. Maybe your time, your free time is 7:30 to 8 p.m. in the night. Set it 7:30, 7:35, set it 7:40. You understand? 8 o'clock. You cannot do stop reading. You understand? Set that time right now and let me know if you've done it yet. And then make it every day. Oh yeah. So now you've set the reading time. The next thing you need to do is to what? Set the environment. I wrote here, say that environment contributes to 80% of the reasons why people read or people don't read. Environment contributes to 80% of the reason why people read and people don't read. Environment contributes. So what do I mean by this? I'm going to explain. What I mean by this is basically that if you have how can I explain this right now? Okay, let me talk about the last thing I want to talk, right? Is to place a book around you. Then I'll use that in explaining environment. Because I wanted to separate them in my notes, right? I want to separate them in my notes and then so I could share it. So, but they actually are similar, right? But they are not the same. Placing a book around you is different from environment. Setting alarm is part of the environment, right? So environment contributes. If you are hungry, where you go to is the kitchen. The environment for cooking or for getting fed is the kitchen, right? Your kitchen is not surrounded by books. It's not surrounded by your laptop. What your kitchen is surrounded by is stove, pots, food source, right? That creates the environment that you call a kitchen, right? What creates the environment for learning in school is that there's a teacher, there's a classroom, there is a board, there are markers, right? And there are seats for people to learn from, right? So you have to create an environment within your environment for reading, right? You could place pictures of things. It seems to be breaking up. Oh my goodness. Am I breaking up? Let me get two or more people's comments so I can know if it's my network. Oh, I'm breaking up. Holy Spirit, help us. Stable network in Jesus' name, amen. So Um, okay, good. So, like I said, right, environment create that room for reading, right? And then create an environment that just allows you to just read, that reminds you about book. I said, yeah, placing a book around you, right? Sleeping with a book, right? It just creates that environment. For me, when I started reading, right, my environment was to go to a bookshop, right? Yeah, you get the recording later. So my environment was to create a book, was to go to like a bookshop. It always inspires me to read. I've not gone to a bookshop in the last 1 2 years, right? Because of my busy schedule, and because now I just send it to my guys like, oh, SOD bookshop, you get this book? Yes. How much? XYZ amount transfer. Oh yeah, do baby for me, and I get it, right? But what did I do? Behind me right now, you will see my bookshelf. As I'm entering my house, the first thing I'm seeing is my bookshelf. As I'm coming out from my room, from my workstation, to enter the kitchen, I am seeing my bookshelf. The reason it is located here is a conditioning environment, such that when I get tired of reading, when I feel like I don't want to read, I'm seeing book. I'm like, I just come here, admire a few books. I'm like, oh, this book. I'm like, oh, this book. Oh, Atomic Habits. And I'm like, oh, what does it says? Right? This author. I'm like, okay. I just open like, really one time action that lock in good habits. Oh, this is interesting. Let me read. Right? And all of those things. So environments are really, really powerful, right? Placing books around you. For me, smells of new books also like gets me excited. So every month there's a budget that goes to book, right? I'm always excited, like, yeah, I'm going to buy a book this month. Funny thing was that on Tuesday, I bought a book. Yesterday, I bought a book again. Today, I went out again. I'm still looking for another book again. I'm like, no, I'm not buying a book in Jesus' name. Devil is a liar, a liar. I'm not buying book today. I don't buy no book for the month already. So let's not do that, right? So that's it, basically. So lastly, right, things you shouldn't do on your reading journey is that don't rush, right? Be at your pace. Be at your pace. Things you shouldn't do, right? Be at your pace. Don't rush. Be patient. Just follow your own pathway, right? You remember the story of the tortoise and the head, right? Is it the head? I don't know, one animal like that, that has long hair. They were to go in a race, and then the animal was not distracted. The tortoise, that is the slow walker, won the race. It was unbelievable. You understand? Don't rush. Be at your own pace, and then you will get to the finish line, which is to create a reading habit. You understand? So the next thing is that don't pick a book you don't like or love. This is another mistake that people do, is that they read books they don't like or books they don't love. Ensure you fall in love with books that you are reading, or at least be interested in reading that book, right? I have a book that I'm also going to share. It's part of the gift I'm going to share in this masterclass. It's titled how to read like a pro. No, it's not titled to read like a pro. How to pick the best book to read. That's the title. I'm going to share it right at the end of this masterclass to also help you, because part of this I also want to do is to make these things as practicable as possible, right? The last thing is that don't try to know all in a book. This is a another common mistake people make, right? They are reading a book and they want to remember everything they read in that book. It doesn't work that way. Someone said that your brain is not designed to know everything. Your brain is not designed to remember, right? Your brain is not designed to store information. So your brain is designed to think. You can Google it out. What is the brain designed for? Is to think, not to store information, right? So it is very possible you read a book, and the time you are done, you don't remember anything you read in that book. So what I do is to advise people to take jottings of what they are reading, basically, right? Take jottings, try to alight, and take a key concept they learned from that book. Don't try to know everything. Just learn one thing. Ensure you learn, just learn one key concept from that book, basically. So, in conclusion, reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. This quote is for Jim Rohn. Reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. And I believe that I've been able to show you practically how reading helps you rise above the ordinary. I've shared a bit of my life with you, and then I trust that you'll be welcomed on this reading journey. So, welcome on this reading journey. Thank you for your time. Right? You can follow me. I'm Solomon Ola, and then Grow with Books on Instagram, basically. So, questions for me, questions for me. Oh, you guys are clapping. Oh, I'm touched. I'm touched. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, who has questions? Let me check the comment section. If there are questions that you want to ask, you can drop them. Yes, Anthony, the recording would be ready. Recording will be ready. Okay. Oh, amazing. How do I manage being easily distracted? Okay, keep your question coming. Am I on LinkedIn? Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. Yes, my name is Solomon Olalemi on LinkedIn. Yes, you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. So I'm gonna answer your questions. These are interesting questions. Very interesting questions. Very, very interesting questions. Okay. So starting from Anthony, right? How do I manage being easily distracted, especially having several books I feel like reading? I'm in your shoes, right? Anthony, I am currently in your shoes. I have a lot of books I want to read. How do you manage being easily distracted? It's very simple, right? Pick the best, the book that catches your fancy the most, right? This is what I'll tell you. Pick the book that catches your fancy the most. You have several books that you want to read. Give yourself time to read them. Pick the one that is most important for you at that moment, or you feel you really, really want to read at that moment. Read that one first. When you are done, then now go back to reading other books, right? Everybody gets distracted by something or one or the other, right? It's a good thing that it is several books that is distracting you. That's a very good thing, right? But now, just pick one book that you want to read or that you feel you need to read at that moment. When you are done, then you cannot go back to the rest of the books, right? And then um, basically read on. I hope I've been able to answer your questions, Anthony. I hope I've been, if that does not answer your question, let me know so I can help you further, basically. So next question is reading multiple books a bad habit? Because I love to read multiple books. Well, truthfully, no. Reading multiple books is not a bad habit, right? I did that last year, right? I did that last year. I was reading like 3 books at the same time, right? It was enjoying at some point, but I also was losing focus at some point. So I just like advised myself, like, oh, stay with just reading one book when you are done, right? The only book I can read concurrently is a non-fiction book and a fiction book. I can read them together because there are someone is raising up their hand. Okay. Yeah. So because there are like two different like fictions are basically like story lessons in story forms, right? Non-fiction are basically non-fiction, personal development books, basically. Yeah. So I can read them together, right? So it's not bad reading multiple books, right? But ensure that in every book you're reading, you are gaining an insight, you are gaining a lesson, basically. So that's it. Yeah. If that answer your question, let me know. Next question is, please, how can someone bounce back after being overwhelmed with reading academic book? How can you bounce back? The truthful answer is that you just bounce back. There is no how, you just bounce back. All of the framework I've shared, why you should read, how you should read, and what you should read, right? How you bounce back is finding a strong why. Why should you read? I have been overwhelmed by academic books. Now I want to be reading books that would help me grow, that will help my personal development, self-help books, right? How do I bounce back? You remind yourself that the reason why you are reading in the first place is to become a better person, not just academically, because you can become a better person academically. Have you ever wondered why you see a professor? This professor is very sound in their field, and then they talk about, let's say, marriage, for example. I'm like, does this person not have sense? Right? Sorry to use that language. Like, what this person is, right? It's different from what they are saying at this moment. You understand? So you can be a better person academically, and in other areas, you have found one thing. So this is how you bounce back. You remind yourself that you want to become a better person all round, right? This now empowers you to now start picking up self books to read. I hope that has been able to answer your question. Yeah, thank you. Must I finish a book before starting a new one? Hmm. So I have a confession to make, and the confession is that I was reading 3 months ago. I was reading this book, Hyper Focus. Yeah, I have it here. I was reading Hyper Focus. This book is very boring, right? And it's not just boring. I felt it was repetitive, right? What the author was saying in chapter 1, he's still saying in chapter 3, right? In different form. So it was boring. And I'm like, let's pick up this book. I don't have that zeal to read it again. I told myself, I said, Solomon, the best thing to do is to pause this book for now and then come back to it later on in life, right? I can come back to this book in the next 2 years and then I will learn more than I am currently reading at this time. So it is possible, if you don't find a book interesting any longer, it is fine to pause it at that moment and go to the next book. Because the truth of the matter is that whether you read this book, right, from cover to cover, it does not mean you remember everything from cover to cover. You only remember key ideas that resonate with you, right? So it's, if you've get got if you've like gotten like gotten the key idea, you sure understand what I'm saying, right? Sorry for my English, right? That is being passed in this book. It's fine to drop it. It does not mean you should not finish it, right? It just means that you just there's just that's this inner satisfaction you have towards that book within you, that I'm tired of this book. I think I should go back to the next book. So if you experience that, you will not always experience this. Trust me. In the last in the last 5 years that I've been reading, I've experienced this with only 2 books, right? Oh, this is the second book I'm experiencing this with. Oh, sorry, my battery is low. Let me charge this thing. I didn't even realize. Thank God, say you know that. Yeah, so you will not always feel that inner dissatisfaction, but whenever you feel it, right? Please drop that book and go to the next book. So, is there a book? Is there a group? Is there a group where you can continue to do a supervising and monitoring work? Well, this is part of the announcement I will make. at the end of answering this question, right? I'm thinking, do we convert this reading masterclass to a a a a book club, or do we just let everybody go? I prefer everybody should go, but we can convert it to a book club where people get to become accountable with reading the book. Well, we will decide that later. We'll find out. Just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. We'll discover that later. Um, my my PA would she will help me, and then we'll see what we can do, right? Because my desire is that it's not just for this masterclass alone, is that you get to that point where reading becomes your habit, and then you can say that I love reading, just like me. Now I can say I love reading, or like I tell people, reading is my life, right? And all of those things. So I hope that answers your question. I don't Chidima said I don't ever finish a book, and at the same time, I love to buy book and store. Also, I buy a lot of book I don't even read. How can I overcome this? This is a very, very interesting question, right? I don't ever finish a book. You understand? I think one thing you should tell yourself is that the book you're going to pick, Chidima, can we talk privately? So I do not give you a generalistic answer because I need to understand why you don't get to finish a book, right? And then why you like buying books also. So we need to talk at length on that privately, and then I cannot share tips on how you can overcome it. But trust me, it's a good problem, right? It's a good problem rather than a bad problem. So don't be discouraged. Yeah. So Ozima is asking, what's your advice to someone who has been writing and failing a particular professional exam, and the person is on the verge of giving up? This person always prepare hard for this exam. Well, this is my advice. Number one is that you need to do an introspection. The person needs to do an introspection on why they are failing that exam. It could not be that they are reading. It could be that they are reading, they know what they are reading, they know what they are writing, but what the examiner is marking is different from what they are writing down in the exam. It might not be a reading problem. It could be the examiner's marking system, right, or marking script problem, right? So the person needs to do an introspection on what is the cause of failing the exam. Probably talk to a few people, right, who has passed the exam, and ask them, how did you read? No, not how you read. How did you write? How did you prepare for this exam? And then all of these things, right? Person needs to do a deep introspection into what exactly is happening. I can tell for a fact that this person has not taken this exam like not once, not twice, maybe three times. So it is not a reading problem. It is likely a problem of what's it called now? Um, what's it called? A problem of the examiner. What's the examiner marking? Person needs to know, right? Due to this failure, the person has lost motivation to prepare for the next exam. Ozema, we can also talk on WhatsApp, right? On WhatsApp, my name is Solomon Olalemi, right? Just chat me up, and then we can talk. We need to deep dive into what the problem could be, right? And then see what is going to happen, and then see how we can help the person resolve it, right? Trust me, there is no problem that is higher or power than your. My meditative thought today was that you have everything you need for your success in life at every given point in time within you at your disposal right now, right there where you are, right? Yeah. So people is saying, thank you, Mr. Solomon. Thank you to Fanitachu. Okay. I don't have a question. I think one thing that resonates with me from your section is not trying to know all in a book. I struggle with reading because I find it hard coming to terms with reading a book and not being able to articulate everything in a book. I guess now I know better. Yeah. Favor, I'm rooting for you. Keep reading, keep reading. Yeah. But remember that to take one key ideas from a book. And let me show you how I discovered this, right? How did I discover this? I started a YouTube channel last year, right? And it was about just doing like book reviews, right? Just doing book reviews. And my first video, I tried to do a chapter by chapter review of a book, right? I mean, I will do the video, and well, I will drop my YouTube channel link in the group later today so that you guys can watch some videos, subscribe, and then yeah, please subscribe and share with your friends, right? And then I will say chapter one. This is the title of chapter one. This is what it says. When I was preparing the script, I was trying to put everything in chapter one inside the video, right? And me myself, when I'm doing the video, when I'm trying to now memorize it, like, okay, oh, this is how I would say it. I'm not remembering everything. So it was a challenge to me. I had to sit down myself. I'm like, will people in the first place read chapter one, like listen to it? They will get bored. So then I resolved that the goal of reading is to pick an important lesson that resonates with you, share it with people, and then they get blessed by that, and then they are transformed by that. You understand? Right? For me, how to win friends and influence people, I don't know everything in that book. But one thing I've promised myself is that anytime I'm going to a new company, right, starting a new job, I must read that book first before I resume, right? So I can remind myself of lessons in that book, right? Okay, this is what I'll do. This is what this book is saying. You understand? Smile and everything, right? That's just it. Pick one idea from that book. Thank you. How do I read fast? I spent like 3 months on a book, jotting and meditating on a book. Work at your pace, Anthony, right? Work at your pace. If you want to learn how to read fast, you could do maybe 10 chapters per day. No, not 10 chapters, 10 pages per day, right? You could time yourself like, okay, I want to read 10 pages per day, but I'm not a fan of works. I'm a fan of systems. When you have the system in place, you would have you will get the work done, you understand, easier. You understand? You do not rise above the level of your works, right? You come to the level of your systems, of your discipline. You understand what I'm saying? What do I say? If you have created a system to help you read every day, right? There is no day that would come that you would not read. You understand what I'm saying? So if you have created a system of reading 10 pages per day, you can go above 10 pages, right? But you will not go below 10 pages. So you just do an introspection. So there's no fast answer. There is no direct or indirect answer. There is just you answer, right? That's why all of my talks, I don't want to give you patterns. I don't want to give you what to do, how to do. I want to give you the system. Once you understand the fundamental framework, then you have the answer you need, right? How do I read fast? Do an introspection. What is causing me to read slow in the first place? Am I reading 3 months? For example, you are reading 3 months because you don't have that time to read for 3 months, like to read every day, right? That's yourself. So you don't need to beat yourself up. You just need to work on your systems. When you do this, trust me, you're good to go. Yeah, Favor is saying, please, in a situation where someone likes reading books but feels sleepy and in some cases fall asleep, what can be done to help in such cases? First of all, like I said, right, don't pick a convenient time for you to read. If you did the practical ask you to do, it will be very helpful, right? And I think maybe I should just digress to that practical and just say, don't pick a time when you would feel sleepy or when you're about to sleep. Maybe 8 a.m., 8 p.m. is your sleeping time. Please don't pick 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Sorry, as the time you read, basically. Pick a time before 8 p.m., right? Don't pick time that is going to stress you. You understand what I'm saying? So how do you do it when you feel sleepy? Read when you are most active. You know when you are most active, right? Find those times and set those times as your reading time. Trust me. When it comes to you sleeping, sleep. You understand? So I think that answered the question. And I think we will be bringing this call to a close right here. Yes, so this is the book I'm sharing. How to select the best book to read. A lot of people, and I wrote this book because a lot of people find it hard to read, not because they don't want to read, but because they don't even know which book. They said, remember, when I was sharing the framework, I said the why, the how, and the what. The why should I read? How should I read? And what should I read? So, how do I go about getting the best book or the what to read? I have given you different mechanisms in this book to share how to select the best book to read at every given time. I hope that this book is going to bless you and that this book is going to impact your reading journey positively. Yeah, thank you. So this is me. My name remains Solomon Olalemi. So you can follow us on Instagram. We will drop the link. Please let it be. We'll also be dropping a poll right tomorrow, right, to see if you want us to convert this reading masterclass so a book club, right? If people subscribe to it, we will share the modalities of the book club, right? And then see how we can take it up from there, basically. And then all of those things. Please, I'll also be dropping my Instagram YouTube page where you can watch different books that you can read. I think so. Let me also share it. You can take me as Solomon Olalemi on YouTube. Um, yeah, so okay, network is not loading it now. I'd have loved to show one or two things here. So yeah, so please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then okay, this is my request. In order to help me, right? When I drop the link to the YouTube channel, please click on the subscribe video, watch a video, and then post it on your WhatsApp status so that your friend should subscribe. In your own words, just tell them how this masterclass has been impactful to you, and then you are trying to bless the person, right? That organized this masterclass, which is me right now. They should just please subscribe to the YouTube channel and let's help more people to read, basically. Thank you. I hope I have been a blessing to you tonight. Thank you. For people that missed this masterclass, please go to the group and share one or two things that you learned from this masterclass. Right now, go to the WhatsApp group and drop it there. This is what I learned. This is what I learned. This is what I learned, right? And let them anticipate for the recording so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you are here. God bless you.